Today is Tuesday, January 12th. Let's go over your memory scripture. John 14:6. It says, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. John 14:6. Again, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Yesterday in Bible, we discussed how the Hebrews were now leaving Mount Sinai. The clouds started to move, so they knew that the Lord was calling them to a different place. So they began their journey through the wilderness again. Remember, they are trying to get to the promised land, the land of Canaan. But not long after they had left Mount Sinai, the people started to complain all over again. This time, they were complaining that it was hot. They were complaining that they were thirsty. They just had all kinds of complaints. And so God was displeased with the complaining. He wasn't happy about it. And so the Lord sent fire from heaven throughout the camp, and some people died from the fire because God was not happy that they were complaining. Again, when the Lord had just appeared to them, God had provided so much for them, and they are still choosing to complain over being grateful and over praying. And so the Lord sent fire. And so the people, they asked Moses, said, Moses, please ask the Lord to stop the fires. And so the Lord did stop the fires. But not long after that, the people started to complain again. This time they were complaining for meat. The Lord would give them manna every single day, but they said that wasn't enough, that they wanted meat. They were tired of eating the bread. And they started to even say that, oh, well, we were better off in Egypt. We had all that we could eat in Egypt. And so they are disrespecting the Lord by saying that they were better off as slaves in Egypt than free people with the Lord. And although they are in the wilderness, God is with them. And so the Lord was not happy about it. And Moses even had enough. And so Moses went before the Lord. And this time Moses didn't pray. He was like, Lord, why did you put me in charge of these people? He's like, all they do is act like spoiled children. All they do is complain. Moses had enough. He said, Lord, I can't lead these people anymore. They complain too much. They whine too much. He says, Lord, just let me die, Lord. I can't do this anymore. But God was going to help Moses out. So the Lord had told Moses to elect 70 men who would be leaders over the people. And so these 70 men would be in charge of taking the complaints of the people. Instead of the people going to Moses for every little thing they had an issue with, they would now go to the 70 leaders, the people who was over them, so that they could bring their complaints to them and they would solve their issues. Now, the only issues that would come to Moses would be like big problems, and we'll kind of talk about that in Bible next week. But that, the smaller complaints that they had, like about food and water and all of that, they would bring that to their leaders. So that kind of helped Moses out a little bit. So the Lord also told Moses, he says, the people are crying for meat and I will give them meat. And so the Lord said he would send quail. He would send quail for about a month. Every day for a month, the Lord would give quail to the people. The Lord said they would eat so much quail that they will get sick of eating quail. And that's exactly what happened. The Lord sent the quail and the people were excited. They caught the quail. They were happy. And every day they got meat every single day, to the point where some of them ate too much of the meat and they got sick from eating too much meat and they died. And so an illness kind of spread throughout the people, and that was God's punishment because of their complaining once again. And so we just talked about how the people just need to learn how to trust their God and how to stop complaining. They already broke the covenant with the Lord, and they should be grateful that God still chose to keep them as his own people, yet they are still complaining, just doing everything that God doesn't want them to do. So hopefully they learn their lesson real soon about complaining, and that they learn to trust God and how to bring their problems into prayer. And so that was our Bible lesson yesterday. So we will continue our Bible lesson on today. So after the people were in Kadesh, that's where they were with the quail, they started their journey again through the wilderness, and this time they have finally arrived at the promised land. So it had been a little over a year that the people had left Egypt, and now God had led them to the promised land. And so instead of going into the promised land, they decided to stop. They were like, we shouldn't go in just yet. Let us wait a minute before we go into the land. Now, this is the land that God promised to give them. This was the land that God had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This was that land. So the land belonged to them. It was theirs, but they were afraid to go inside of the land. They had reached the land. They were there. They were right there. All they had to do was just keep on going, and they were going to be able to go and take their land. But instead, they were fearful, and they were like, let's wait here at the border, and let's see who's inside of the land first. Because the Hebrews hadn't been inside of the land for like 400 years. Whenever they went into Egypt, remember with Joseph, whenever there was the famine, Joseph had took his family and brought them to Goshen. That's why they went to Egypt. And so it had been 400 years. So other people lived inside of the land at this time. You had different nations, the Amalekites, you had the Canaanites, you had all kinds of different people that were living in the promised land. And so the Hebrews were afraid to run into these people. They were like, what will happen if we go into the land? These nations might run us out of our land. They might defeat us. And so they decided to not go and take their land. God had told them, he said, you're here. Go and possess the land. Go and take your land. It is yours. God told them that he would give them victory over every nation in that land. But instead, the people said, no, we're too scared. The people asked Moses if he could send spies to go and spy out the land before they went inside of the land. They were like, well, could you send spies, Moses? Send the spies, and they will go and spy out the land, and they will tell us if we should go in the land or if we shouldn't go in the land. Now, God had already told the people to go in the land. God had already told them that the land was theirs, that all they had to do was just go and possess the land. God would give them all the victory. God would be with them. But they wanted to send spies to check out the land first. So Moses prayed about it, and the Lord told him it was okay. So Moses selected one man from each of the 12 tribes. So remember, there's 12 tribes total. So he chose one from each tribe. That was a total of 12 spies that were selected to go and spy out the land. Amongst those 12 was Joshua. If you remember, he went halfway in the mountain with Moses, and Caleb also. And we'll talk about Caleb when we talk about Joshua, when he is the leader of the Hebrews. We'll talk more about Caleb. So, and there were the 10 other spies. So they decided to send spies to go into the land to tell them what the land was like, what was in the land, what kind of people were in the land, and the spies will come back and report to the people, okay? So that's what they decided to do. They decided to wait and not go in the land, but to send spies to check out the land first. So that's our Bible lesson today. Tomorrow we will get into what the 12 spies will see in the land and what they will come back and tell the people and what the people will decide to do. So that completes Bible on today. We learned about the 12 spies who went in to observe the land.